Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about the ups and downs of life, and particularly the downs and what to do to support ourselves when we're in kind of the lower valley of those ups and downs. And the first thing is to recognize that everybody goes through them, that every life has them. So we can't expect that we will never have those moments of challenge, doubt, grief, maybe a little prolonged sadness, a feeling of loss of direction. And they come to us in times where maybe there's a transition in our bodies, in our lifestyle, in our relationships, in the world at large, where something new is coming in that feels challenging or threatening or leaves us feeling vulnerable or uncertain. And it's just a normal process and fact of life that this happens. And I think of life kind of like hiking, and everybody might have a different topography for their hikes, and when they happen, these valley moments in life happen. But yet we can all expect that they do. And there tend to be trend times when they do happen. So in times of big life change and shifts, I get a lot of people that it happens to in retirement or right after having a child or going through a breakup, or big changes in like where we're at in our lifespan. So around 50s, or for women around menopause. And, the first instinct, I think, if we don't talk about them or share about them, a lot of people feel like, what's wrong with me? I shouldn't be feeling this. I'm like a little bit of shame or guilt around it, or definitely a feeling of, I just want to get through this. I want this to go away. And they kind of compare it to how they feel at times in their lives when things are in full drive mode, right? So you're thinking about this hike and like those times where you have that peak that you're getting up to and you feel this deep sense of purpose, you have this direction, you know exactly where you're headed, and you're on a mission, right? So it's kind of taking your attention, using your skills, your resources, your time, and you're working towards something. And then we get to the top and we have this like euphoria moment. We made it and it's all good. And, maybe we were successful, maybe we weren't, but then that's the little ups and downs of life. And then everybody at some point, we're gonna have these times where we're coming back down. And sometimes we're coming back down and it's like nice at first. It's nice to go downhill, to have the pressure off. And then sometimes we're going downhill and it can feel like, whoa, I don't know where I'm going next. I've lost that mission and that purpose. I'm not as relaxed as I thought I would be. I'm still carrying some of that anxiety or fear from when I was working so hard, but now I have nowhere to direct it. I don't know what to do with these feelings. And then sometimes we get down into the valley where it's like, I have this space and pause where I don't have the next like hill to climb, and I'm kind of done with that last one. And so where am I now in this valley? And I think this valley tends to be the hardest place for people to find peace and just relax. Like, especially in our culture, we get in the valley and we're like desperately seeking for the next peak to climb, or what's happening next, where to direct our energy and our attention and our force next. And it feels uncomfortable. And you could also, I'm used more of the analogies of like the doing and the purpose and the achieving, but we have these emotional times too, right? Like they can be linked to these goals or achievement or kind of the normal life, what do you call, like flagstones, or where you get. But we can have times where we're like feeling really great about ourselves and our relationships and where we're at, and our emotions are doing pretty well. And then we can also have times when our emotions are really down, and where we get really afraid is again in that valley where it's like, well, my emotions are these difficult emotions are still here, and now I don't know what to do with them. How do I'm desperate to start climbing back out, and we're like clawing at getting out of the valley, and that can leave us feeling anxious. It can leave us feeling disappointed in self, and it definitely doesn't leave us very compassionate about what we're going through. So we say, what we kind of learn in mindfulness and in this practice is to, when we're in the valley, I think the first step is to slow down, recognize that we're there. So look around you, recognize and sit with where you are. Like, without trying to make it something else, without judging it, without trying to get out of it, but just looking around and saying, where am I right now? Okay, I'm in this valley. And then we kind of start, bring in that compassion and that acceptance that it's okay that I'm here in the valley right now. And we begin observing. So we want to be the curious observer. Sometimes we don't even notice what conditions in our lives might be contributing to this, and all we see is that we're uncomfortable and we don't want to be there. So once we kind of find that I have arrived, I'm ready to observe, we really observe with compassion the conditions in our lives. And we say, okay, this is where I help people recognize, well, I'm in a huge transition, or I'm no longer able to do the things I once was, or I'm no longer in the position I once was, or have that purpose that I once did, or I'm at a different phase of life where new things are important right now. Or to the fact, in this observation phase, it's like, what's going on in the world? Like, can we be a little honest with ourselves of what's happening and creating a little bit of this unrest and anxiety? And this is where we develop an understanding of, oh, of course I feel this way. Of course I'm here right now. And I don't have to immediately jump on taking myself out. That sometimes the biggest understanding, the biggest growth and transformation comes from learning about yourself in this valley stage. What's it like for me here? What's really going on in my body, in my mind, in my emotions? What experience am I really having? And sometimes in this valley stage, we get, if we lean in well with mindful presence and compassion, it can take the pressure off, and it can almost feel really nice and relaxing. Like, oh, I can just be here. I don't have to go tackle the next thing, or find for the next status, or take my next direction or goal. Can I just be here and learn how to be okay with myself in this moment, and what can I discover about myself in this phase and my relationships in this phase. And it's a phase that actually holds a lot of depth and wisdom because we're not expending so much energy on the next go. We don't have these really pleasant, kind of happy, strong emotions carrying us along. It's this kind of settling time where we can go deeper and ask the deeper questions and allow ourselves to just feel. And so when we're in this valley and it's uncomfortable, right? We're not used to it. We are told to go tackle the next thing or get a move on. But if we can just sit here, then in this understanding, we're also engaging in our self-care practices. So making sure we're meditating, well, for me, meditating, doing my yoga, continuing my quiet walks. So doing the things that create my foundation of well-being, even if I'm struggling through them, even if the pain is still there in them, or my sadness or my doubt, it's like, I know I have to stick to the foundation. And this is when you're really glad your foundation is there, that you have it to lean on. So you keep doing these practices and they grow stronger and you learn more in them. And in these practices, it's like, you're also using your mindfulness to find those conditions of happiness even here in the simple things. And in this stillness, we actually start looking around and it's like, we're in this valley, in this calm. We don't feel stuck here anymore. We feel kind of calm and peaceful and accepting here. And we start to be able to look around and see the beauty even here in this new stage where we are, in ourselves, in where we're at right now. And we start to learn to love ourselves at this deeper level without just the accomplishment and the go and the excitement doing it, but at this deeper level of when it's in the calm, in the valley, in some of the tougher spots, you're forming this kind of deeper gratitude and appreciation for self and life. And normally, if we do this well, then when we do kind of take the next steps from the valley, they carry much more meaning and purpose in them and can tend to be a lot more aligned with our true selves and where we really need to go. Whereas sometimes if we're just clinging to the next move, we can head in directions that maybe won't serve us so well in the long run or aren't so aligned in the long run. So I'm definitely feeling this right now with where our poor state of Colorado is at and all this smoke that's kind of limiting our summer activities, giving us some cabin fever and definitely some grief around our natural spaces. And so making sure that I'm in that valley, finding acceptance, showing up in compassion, and engaging very intentionally in all the practices that support me. So if you would like to engage in some quiet meditation together to support ourselves here, I am starting the next class series on strengthening our self-guided meditation this week on Tuesday. So please join us for that. And then of course there's ongoing yoga classes you can join. And in mid-August, I will offer the next intro series. So I hope to see you all very soon and continue to take care of yourselves in this less than perfect summer.